Hi everyone, welcome to Bloombox. I'm Jen Barlow, and today we're going to work on the Winter Reflections arrangement that you ordered. To start, you need to grab your materials list out of your box and match all of the ingredients on this list to what you have in your box. Make sure you received everything. There are a couple of things that I want to go over before we get started. One of them is you will probably need a pair of wire cutters if you have them at home. If not, we'll work around it, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll need some floral cutters, and then you're going to want to not lose your little poker stick. This is to push the moss into the arrangement when we're done. So I stick all of those things in my apron. So I know where they are. They don't get lost once we make a mess on the table. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take your container that's got the floral foam in it already. We are going to work with the framework pieces first, which are your evergreen, your artificial evergreens. And I start with those because they have a thicker base and they take up more room. So it acts as kind of the framework in the arrangement. And you can see I spread them out and put all of those in first. Once those are in, it's easier to tuck in the more delicate pieces. Okay, so grab your white pine tips. You should have 3. And you're going to take the longest one and you're going to stick it in the center of your arrangement. Oh, so one thing I want to mention is my arrangement that I did originally that you saw on the website has more of a cone, overall cone shape. So higher in the center and then kind of works its way down, sort of like a Christmas tree shape. You can go more rounded if you want, or you can go all upright. It's completely up to you how your arrangement ends up looking, but that's the overall shapes that you're going to want to look for. Okay, so we put our centerpiece in. Then I'm going to take the other 2 white pine tips and kind of stick them in the side of the floral foam. So one in there. Shove it down in there pretty far. And I'm going to kind of, these are on wire, so I'm kind of arching the piece. And then I'm going to take the other one and stick it kind of at the corner of your floral foam and go a little more upright with it. And then shape it how you want to shape it. Okay, now we're going to move to your cedar mix. In your cedar mix, there is also a white pine tip. So that one's going to go towards the front and kind of pointed upwards. All right. Then we move on to our spruce tips. That's these guys here. And then we have the arborvitae tips. Okay, spruce tips first because they have the thicker base. And I'm just going to kind of spread out. I should turn this so you can see it. The evergreen portion of it. And throughout the video, we'll have spots where we speed up and just kind of get you through it so you don't have to sit here and listen to me the whole time. Okay. Finish with my spruce tips. And I'm trying to just give it some evergreen all the way around. And I feel like we are sort of empty right here. Okay. Now your arborvitae tips are going to wait because they have the smaller base and we got to kind of tuck them in. The next thing we want to do is work with your frosted arborvitae. And then you'll have several pieces here. You can take these, if you don't want this whole bunch in one section, you can take them with your wire cutters and cut them apart. I'm going to leave this one together. And just kind of give yourself a little bit of white accent all the way around. This short guy I'm going to save for the end to add to the side here once I've got other pieces in. And I tend to, like on this piece here, I will take the shorter piece, the shorter stem, and put it towards the bottom and out rather than in on your arrangement. And again, they're on wire, so you can shape them however you want. Okay, next thing, we're still going to wait on the arborvitae. We're going to take the green Soteria, going to slide that out. Now I do these in groupings. In your groupings, you should always do odd number. Not a hard and fast rule, but tends to be a little more pleasing to the eye. If you do, I gotta move some of this stuff out of the way, sorry. Odd number. So some of them are a little bigger than others. So group a big one with a medium one with a small one. And then take your floral cutters and you're going to cut them off about 3 or 4 inches from the base of the grass. And then just start sticking them in grouped together. And you're going to want to space this around throughout the arrangement. You can see I just did these and I broke this big one. Bad move. Just take it and break it off where it broke, tear it off where it broke, and then stick it back in. You have to be kind of careful when you're putting these dried pieces in because they are more brittle. And you have these big wire pieces in the arrangement already, and you're going to run into the stems of those every once in a while. So be kind of gentle when you're pushing them in so you don't do what I just did. Okay. This one's going to go a little more at an angle. Give it that texture balance. And I'm going to cut that one a little bit shorter because I want it to go in a little further. And then I have just one left. I'm going to set it along with, here it is, my white tipped arborvitae, so I can fill with that as an accent at the end. Okay, next pieces. I'm going to take your regular arborvitae, and just kind of give the texture difference throughout the arrangement. Turn this here. Okay. Now I'm looking at this now and I'm seeing, oh, I gotta cut that off. Hang on. That I need to start focusing down lower in through here, and we may have to rearrange some things as we go. Take one of your large pine cones. If you have a big hole like that, take one of the large pine cones, end off, and use it to fill that gap. I'm going to actually do that with a couple of them. Okay, and you're going to want to keep looking at it because this is a 360 design, so you're going to want to keep looking at it from all sides as you go. Okay, let's move on to your flax. This flax is very delicate, but we gave you a lot, so don't freak out if you start breaking off pieces, and they tend to get tangled in each other. What I'm going to try and do is separate it into 5 groups so that I can fill 5 holes with this flax. So there's 1, see what I mean? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you'll notice that the groupings aren't necessarily evenly even in number, in thickness, and you want them to be kind of random. So take one of your thicker bunches first and get it so that the actual seed heads are closer together at the ends. Again, you're going to have pieces that break off. Don't worry about that. There'll be plenty left to see. And then you're going to have little random pieces that have broken that you do want to get rid of before you put it in the arrangement. And I've got a stubborn one. Okay. Now, take this. See, I'm not putting my pruners away. And cut it off. You're going to cut it off to where it's about 1 inch or 2 away from your bottom seed heads. And then take the whole group and find a spot you want to put this color in. Before you push it into the floral foam, make sure it's the length and height that you want. I'm going to turn this towards you in a minute. Push it down in there. Okay, see how I have these random ones up higher? You can leave that. It gives it a little more wild and airy look. Or you can cut off the individual ones that you feel like are too hairy with your floral. Oop, that one didn't go in at all. I'll set those aside. Kind of give it a haircut so it fills the space the way you want it to. Okay? I'm going to go ahead, and this will probably be one of the spots we speed things up because this is going to take a second. Okay, one thing I want to point out, I'm not sure this is the right bundle to do it with. It isn't. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I have a spot here where I would like to give some more of that color, and it's kind of down in this area, but I don't need a whole bundle of this to do that. So I'm going to take just a few pieces, break them apart to the grouping consistency that I want, and then shove that little bundle in that spot. And that can count as one of your 5 bundles. Okay. As you're working on this, just start looking at the overall disbursement of the material and start seeing where you have holes where you might need more of the brown color or more of the tan color, and fill in with pine cones and stuff from there. Stick it in down there. Okay. All right, so here we are so far. Feeling really thin back through here. So we're going to add a pine cone one of your smaller pine cones, and that stem looks like it's okay. Right in here. And I'm wrong. That stem is too long. It's running into one of the evergreen pieces. Okay, like that. At this point, I would go ahead and do the rest of your pine cones wherever you want them. And again, space the brown out throughout the arrangement. My smaller one. Some of the pine cones have wire stems instead of wood. If that's the case, use your wire cutters. There. No, I'm not. Okay. So now you've got all your main pieces in, and you want to just fill from there. I've got flax I can work with. I've got one Ceteria. I've got a small frosted arborvitae and my ferns to fill in. So on the fern, you're going to want to take the bottom leaves off your fern so that you've got a stem to stick into the floral. And these are also wired. I tend to like my fern drooping over the edge, kind of like this arborvitae is doing right there. So I feel like I need that here. Just kind of let it droop down a little bit. I'm actually going to put my other piece up in here, which surprises me, but that's what I'm doing. Again, just filling the holes based on how I arranged everything else. Okay, there we are so far. Anywhere you feel like you've got a gap, you can fill with flax. Or just kind of move them around a little bit in there. I'm going to show you. So on this piece of evergreen, it was off to the side and it's not really in the way of anything else. So I'm going to show you, if you want to shorten it, how to do that. So you want to get as much of the needle part off, because that just gets caught up in the foam. And that should allow you to shove it in a little further. If it doesn't, you can take your wire cutters and give it a good snip, and this is probably not going to work as easily. Okay, there we go. All right, that doesn't seem like I took a lot off, but it's actually about an inch. And then I can put it back in, and it's not sticking out quite so far then. And I think I'm going to do that on my other side one as well. I don't like how far it's sticking out. And all of this is, don't be afraid to take the pieces out and make adjustments to them as you go. The evergreens, you got to put them back pretty much where you put them to start with because of the hole that they make, the large hole they make. But you can shorten them or bend them a different way, however feels best. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this last piece of the white tipped arborvitae. And I'm kind of feeling like it should go in here. Pointed down so it drapes over the edge. Like that. Okay, next thing you want to do is take your coneflower heads. And these are the heads, the center part of coneflower from actually my garden. And these are the seeds. So some of them are going to fall out. It's going to be a little messy. Don't worry about it. They still look pretty tucked in there. Find spots where you want just another touch of brown. So brown above brown, but two different textures. This one's a little longer, so I'm going to keep it. And then this guy is short. So I'm going to tuck him in. Right there. Okay. Now, take your chestnut blooms. These are artificial and they are on wire. Again, you usually do them in groups of 3. You've got one piece probably in your kit that has 2 blooms on one stem. That's the one you want to put in the higher spot. And I am not doing it there because I've got that coneflower there. And the shape is the same. So, I'll do it over here. Wherever you want that bit of yellow is where you should stick them. That's kind of your accent color, which is a cherry color on cold winter days with snow if you get it. Okay. These have very thin stems, but you still have to kind of find your spot that you're able to force them in. They are on wire, so you can bend them, and I'm having trouble with this because that tip is just too thick. There we go. I heard the crunch. Okay. So you've got all of your pieces in there now. I do have one piece of Cytherea left, but I don't really see a spot where I want to stick it. So I'm going to stop there. Next thing you have to do is moss things in. So this is a little tricky. You did get some glue swatches in your kit. These are double-sided glue strips, which you can take and peel off and stick anywhere you see a green spot along the edge. Let's see, we'll do that over. Oh, they are very sticky. Okay, so I've got this pretty big space right there of my floral foam. And I'm gonna put one side of the glue tape down, and then it's got a little tab. You can just peel it off, and I'll go through that here in a second with you. Usually it will just peel off. Get your green poker stick out. Open up your bag of sheet moss and just kind of spread it out on the table. Again, messy. And just take a little piece of the moss and stick it where that tape was. In this case, I had a pretty big hole, so I was able to use my finger. And then around the edge, take another piece of moss, and you're going to moss everything in using your poker tip. I actually use the side that's not pointed because it doesn't just poke straight through. So you're going to go all the way around your arrangement where you see a gap and add the moss. Do a little bit here. Actually, because it's down slow, I'm going to stick it up so I can see it better. Because we're using artificial evergreens, there shouldn't be a lot of gaps in towards the center. On other arrangements, we would add moss as we work our way out, but this one's got all the evergreens in it, and we really didn't need to do that. Okay, so we are done with the Winter Reflections arrangement. Any comments or thoughts you have, you can leave those remarks on the video or contact us through our website. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you join us again for one of our other individual arrangements or order one of our party packs. Our party packs are on the website. They come same size box, but you've got enough ingredients to do 4 arrangements, depending on which one you pick. It's a great way to have a girls' night, crafting night, get a bottle of wine, a charcuterie board, some chocolate, whatever it is you like. Pull up our video and everybody does their own little arrangement and takes it home that evening. Thank you again, and we hope to see you again soon.